want to talk about an amazing comic I've recently discovered, Black Hammer. As I started issue number 1, I was absolutely captivated. Slowly as I began reading through the story, I immediately found that the driving force behind it were the characters that the writer has established in this world he has created. The writer for this comic is Jeff Lemire, an outstanding writer who worked on various properties like Superboy and Justice League, just to name a few. Another comic that he worked on is called Royal City, which is easily one of my most favorite comics in a long time. The characters in that story felt more real than any other comic or even movies that I have encountered, and it's the very same way in Black Hammer. The characters seem larger than life to us, and it's one reason why a lot of people may not take comic books seriously. It's difficult for them to sympathize with a cast of superheroes with overpowering abilities. But there are reasons why guys like Superman are still revered to this very day. It's their personalities. It's the struggles we see them go through, because the writers know how to evoke emotions out of the readers. And when we see them in vulnerable states of mind, that's when we can put ourselves in their shoes and relate. Because we may have felt those tough moments in our own lives as well. And it's here where Black Hammer absolutely shines. The personalities in this story are unbelievably real. Throughout each issue, we learn about every hero's motivations, their pains, and misfortunes. We learn all this through flashbacks and extraordinarily creative storytelling. Take, for example, Mark. Mark is an alien warlord from the planet Mars. In his homeworld, an American rocket ship crash lands, killing everyone on board. After discovering the remains, the Chancellor orders for an immediate deployment of warships to exterminate all the inhabitants of Earth due to his fear that more may come. At this point, Mark pleads with the Chancellor into not taking such a vicious approach. Instead, he suggests sending a team to live amongst the people of Earth by using their shape-shifting abilities. He believes that learning about our human nature could reveal that we may be a peaceful race, which in turn may lead to a possible ally. But they view this as a sign of weakness. They accuse Mark of not being strong enough to do what is necessary in order to survive. After some deliberation and belittlement towards Mark, the Chancellor finally declares him as an ambassador, and that if he wants his plan carried out, then he alone will have to live on Earth. We learn all of this through flashbacks. Jeff Lemire does a masterful job of using this literary device in very engaging ways. He cuts back and forth seamlessly from the present time where Mark isolates himself from contact with others to flashbacks where we learn a little more about what caused him to be so disconnected. In a later flashback, we witness the events that led Mark to become a superhero on Earth. He crash lands in the river of Spiral City. Upon making it to the shipping docks, he stumbles upon a shootout between a police officer and 2 criminals. The officer is killed, and that's when Mark steps in to neutralize the 2 suspects. Knowing that the officer is gone, he seizes the opportunity to assume his identity. Shortly after this, his partner arrives, and it's established that Mark has successfully begun his mission to learn about our race. The story then fast forwards 6 years, where now we see Mark and his partner reminiscing of all the time they've spent together as partners. Mark reveals at this point that he is gay and has fallen for his partner, and for the first time, he felt like he was finally accepted. But immediately following his advances, he is harshly rejected and soon becomes ostracized by the entire police precinct. And once again, Mark feels as though he was always meant to be alone. When we first meet Gail, she appears to be a 9-year-old girl who is rebellious and troubled. But as we learn throughout the progression of the story, appearances can be deceiving. We see her sitting alone atop of a barnyard roof, where she is soon joined by Mark. And to our surprise, thinking that we know her to be a rude and abrasive child, we already see a warmer side. Mark and Gail show that they have a friendly bond. They display their connection through well thought out dialogue, which also reveals exposition that never feels forced. It feels as real as a conversation we may have with the people we know and trust. Lemire uses subtle hints in his writing that are easily missed, which foreshadow future revelations. In the next issue, we learn more about Gail and what caused her to be such a lone wolf. It begins with the little girl second-guessing her decision of leaving the orphanage she was staying in, all while entering a movie theater. She immediately discovers a wizard named Zafram. He tells Gail that she is worthy and gives her all of his powers. Shortly after this happens, he dies. Now by announcing his name, she can channel his powers through her, and she becomes known as Golden Gail. But the next panel shows her speaking the name and remaining the same as we jump back to the present. It seems as though Gail is trapped in her superhero form. Gail's story is an interesting one. As she ages, she becomes tired of being the hero and misses living a normal life. However, she explains that being able to thrust herself back into a young child's body from her older one did feel amazing. And the older she got, she enjoyed it even more. But on our final few panels of this issue, we see how she has struggled to keep it together as she feels trapped in the body of a child. In this world, she has lived in this form for 10 years and would do anything to be the older woman she once was. These are only 2 characters in a series that has 8 main heroes, and they are all as compelling as the next. Abraham Slam has an amazing and touching backstory. Madame Dragonfly has one of, if not the most heartbreaking origin story I have ever read in a comic book. Colonel Weird's chapters treat the readers to beautifully drawn and colored panels that are not just wonderful to gaze upon, but also display some of my favorite adventures in this series. Each character has their own flaws and have experienced so much pain. By knowing all of their tragic details, it's fascinating to see how they interact with one another, which also helps the reader understand their actions on how they handle the harsh realization that they are stranded in a world they can't understand. The way Lemire tells this story is both gripping and entertaining. There are heartbreaking moments, but there is also a wonderful charm in the writing. Each issue feels like a different era in comics. They take inspirations from the Golden Age to the Silver Age to Modern Age, and finally to a new style that has become Jeff Lemire's signature. The illustrations carry so much depth, and you can see the pain and mileage in our heroes. But most of all, you can feel it. Black Hammer has been some of the most brilliant storytelling I have ever had a chance to read, and I'm absolutely excited to continue diving back into this world in Volume 2. It's a testament that with the right person, any character, no matter what powers they have or how incredible the scenario, we can still learn remarkable and moving lessons. Hey guys, it's me Brian. I just wanted to say thank you to everybody who has subscribed to my channel since my last video, and it's really exciting to see that people are enjoying my content. I can't wait to keep putting more out for you guys to enjoy. But anyways, I'll see you all next time on Tribute This.